Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure for one of our rides in 2025? We've got a few things on our schedule.
That's right. We'll be attending Big Bragg and also the Bourbon Country Burn.
Big Bragg is in Georgia and Bourbon Country Burn's in Kentucky. Both places are going to be absolutely beautiful. We're going to have teams for both of those events. If you're looking to join us on our team, just send us a message. We'll tell you what to do.
So come on out. It's going to be a good time.
Absolutely.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. I'm Adam, and across from me digitally is my good friend and co-host, Michael.
Hello, hello. How we doing?
Good. Happy New Year, buddy. How was your New Year celebration?
Happy New Year to you as well. And my New Year's celebration was fantastic because I'm going to let you guess where I went.
Oh, my gosh. You went to Rieger's again?
Rieger's Distillery.
Oh,
home
man.
of the
Slide. Exactly.
You want to get from the second floor back down to the first? You just take the slide.
I remember you had went there previous month ago, and I said, you had texted me, and I said, well, did you guys ride the slide yet? And you said, well, not yet, but there's no other way to leave. So
Been hanging out there a lot lately, so I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. But
they got a five-timers club or something?
They should have. I'm definitely there.
All right. Well, was it as good as last year? I'm just curious.
Yes, it was.
Awesome.
Always a good time.
All right. Well, without further ado, today's show is going to be breaking down Big Bragg 2024. I'm going to stop you right now. If you haven't seen or heard where the route is going to go, I first recommend going to YouTube.
Spoiler alert.
I was going to say, big spoiler alert, you should go to YouTube and watch the Bragg video, or being selfish, you could go back one episode, the one right below this one, and it will give you a breakdown of the route with the executive director, Franklin Johnson. Speaking of that, without further ado, we have a special guest. Franklin Johnson is with us, and now we're gonna talk about the route. Now that we know where the route is, let's talk about it. So, sir, thank you again for your time to joining us here on the show. So,
absolutely, welcome.
My pleasure. Honored to be on the show again.
Hopefully, your New Year was good, and with you and your family. So, hopefully everything is well. So,
yeah, when you got two young ones and one on the way, you don't quite stay up to make it to midnight anymore.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah.
So,
been there, done that.
And further, previous life, I had a stepson, and there were many years we never made it to midnight. So people were like, "Did you make it to midnight?" And I'm like, "No, but I watched it on TV the next morning." So, we now have a route, Atlanta to Savannah. Excited. I cannot lie. Plane tickets have already been purchased. And hotels have already been booked, and we are Cycling Men of Leisure. We are ready. So
we're all in at this point.
That's right.
I'm excited to host you guys again, and can't wait to see how many people you get for the team.
Oh, I'm excited. We know a few people have reached out to us behind the scenes and said we've joined, and I know later on. I think Stephanie reaches out to us and gets that going, but. Or at least I think that's how I did it last year. But we're excited. We hope we get a lot of people on the team. We think we already actually have 10, and if that's the greatest, that's the meets the goal of the jersey. But I want to see how many people we can get. So if you're out there, you're looking to join a team, and after you hear the show, if you're like, man, I'm signing up, choose Cycling Men and Women of Leisure. We'd love to have you.
Well, this route, I will say, is going to some really cool places.
It is.
So why don't we get into it and start talking about some of those cool places we're going to, Adam?
All right. Sounds good. I'm just going to start with Atlanta, but really we let Franklin talk about where we're going to start. where the if you're taking the bus and or MARTA from the airport or however you're getting there, car, bicycle,
Planes,
or
trains, automobiles, whatever.
however you're getting there, where is it starting exactly?
Yeah, so luckily Atlanta is the easiest place to get to from pretty much anywhere in the world on a plane. So it's the busiest airport in the world. So you fly right in. You can hop on a MARTA train from the airport and head straight up to the Brookhaven station. We're starting at Oglethorpe University, which is a beautiful college campus right in the heart of Atlanta. It's a particularly old school, so a lot of the buildings, I like to tell people, it kind of looks like Hogwarts right when you pull up. Some of you are a Harry Potter fan, but it's a really cool looking campus, and super excited to start in Brookhaven, Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, went to school here, kind of grew up here, and I ride these roads all the time. So just super excited to get everybody into the city and ride all the way to the sea.
That's going to be cool. So that is important. So each year that I've been following Bragg, you have some sort of catchy logo that goes along with it. So this year it's going to be actually, what is it exactly?
City to the sea. So yeah, it's going to be a great route. And we got some beautiful logo with some palm trees on either side, the city in the background, and the kind of the sea at the foot of a bike. So it'll be a good memorabilia piece for
cool
on the ride.
Cool.
Yes.
Now,
out of Atlanta, or go ahead.
What's that?
So kicking off out of Atlanta, I'm excited for everyone to ride straight down Peachtree. If you're not from Atlanta or haven't been to Atlanta, I'm sure you've heard of Peachtree Street because every other street in Atlanta is called Peachtree something. But we're riding down the big one, which it's actually a divide. It's not a continental divide, but it's a regional divide where if it rains on one side of Peachtree, all the water goes to the Atlantic. If it rains on the other side, all the water goes to the Gulf. So that's a cool tidbit as you're riding down. It'll be on a ridge the whole way. And yeah, you'll get to ride straight through the heart of the city, which is really cool. So you get to ride through past some skyscrapers. Most of this route follows the Peachtree Road Race, which is the largest 10K in the world. We're going through Buckhead, and then we'll actually head straight through Piedmont Park. So Piedmont Park is Atlanta's version of Central Park. So it's a really cool park. We're going to have a rest stop there right at Park Tavern, which is a restaurant right on the park overlooking kind of the big lawn where they have, huge concerts and festivals all the time. It's super beautiful. There's lakes there. There's all kinds of stuff to do in the park you can check out while you're there. And then we get to hop on the Beltline, which is probably where I ride a lot in the city with my kids because it's a multi-use path. It's funded by the city, and it's going. It circumvents the whole city. It's not complete yet, but it goes through some really cool parts of town, including Ponce City Market, which used to be City Hall, but a big developer bought it and turned it into this huge multi-use commercial development. So definitely worth hopping off the bike while you're on the Beltline to check out some of the breweries and shops and cool stuff that's on the Beltline. And super excited to ride down that because I ride on it all the time with my kids, which is great. Then after that, we hop on Freedom Park path, which if you're not familiar with Freedom Park, it's a path that goes clear from the interior of the city all the way through Decatur, which is another really cool eclectic city within Atlanta almost, and heads all the way out to Stone Mountain. And if you are feeling up to it, Adam, Michael, I'm not sure if you are, you can actually climb Stone Mountain while you're there, come back down and hop on your bike and keep going.
Let's do it.
All right.
I mean, how many times are you in Stone Mountain, Georgia? Come on.
I've never been.
Well, there you go. So we should just do it.
So, I mean, on a serious note, when you say climb, should we pack additional shoes, take off our cycling shoes to be able to climb the mountain?
Yeah, for sure. I would. I haven't climbed it in many years. We used to climb it all the time when we were younger. But you can walk all the way up to the top. It's not a serious climb. I want to say it's like 1.5 miles from bottom to the top.
I do it.
It's super mild. The end gets a little steep, but it's actually the second largest granite deposit on the planet. And if you climb to the top, you get a really nice view of downtown Atlanta. And we're actually going to go into the park, which is actually a state park, and ride all the way around the mountain past the lake. So it'll be beautiful. You have a view of the mountain most of the time. it's just a wonderful park. It's probably the most visited state park in the state, I would imagine.
I say we do it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
All right, I'm in.
Boom, we're committing.
All right.
Sweet. And then also while you're in Stone Mountain, our rest stop is going to be, there's a brewery right downtown Stone Mountain, cute little town right outside the state park. We'll have the rest stop right at a brewery there. And that'll be a really cool rest stop midpoint in the ride.
Cool.
Greatest rest stop ever at a brewery. How great is that?
Can't go wrong there.
No, you can't.
And we'll find somebody there and ditch the shoes off and say, could you please bring these to camp?
Yeah, super excited about the first day just because it's a great transition from literally the most metropolitan area in the state, city of Atlanta, capital of the state, through some really cool multi-use paths. And then after we get on the other side of Stone Mountain, it turns into pretty rural country pretty fast, going through some horse territory. We actually passed by the Georgia International Horse Park where they had the Olympics for horseback riding when the Olympics were down. Yeah.
96.
Michael, you and I sometimes, depending on the ride, carry the GoPro. That might be cool to put the GoPro on the back of the bike that day. And then like as you leave Atlanta, it's just busy. And then by the time you get done, you could do like this photo montage of like a time lapse into Rule. So,
here's what we do. We actually do two. You put yours on the back, I'll put mine on the front, and we'll get both directions.
That sounds great.
Yeah. I had one question. I know people listening might be a little worried. It's like we're starting in Atlanta. That sounds really busy and hectic. You're not taking us right down through all the busy streets. Is that correct? We're on mostly paths.
So straight down Peachtree. Peachtree is a main thoroughfare through the city.
Okay.
It's not an interstate, but it is a busy street. We actually have a meeting with the city this week to go over the plans for that, which I'm excited about. But it's actually the same route we used in 2016 to get out of the city. I've ridden it many times. Like I said, this is where I ride bikes, and it is a 4-lane. So you got people who can, if there are any pedestrians, they can get over quickly. And the good thing about it is, I would never put somebody on Peachtree Street at 5:00 on a Thursday in Atlanta. That's not a great idea. But we are leaving at probably the best time you could possibly get out of the city, which is on a Sunday morning, right at 7 a.m. We're going to have a police escort out of town. And then within the first, 10 miles, 8 miles, actually, we're hopping on the path. So in 8 miles, you'd be off the road onto a path, and that path will take you all the way to Stone Mountain, which is another, 20-ish miles outside of town. I just think it's a really unique thing to do in the city is to ride down, quote unquote Main Street to see the buildings, see the sights, see what there is to see while there's no cars on the road. And we will be in traffic. They're not traffic, but it's open to vehicular traffic, but it'll be very low on a Sunday morning. And we've gone and ridden it an early Sunday morning, and we're going to continue to do so until the ride gets here. And I think that's honestly the other option is going through a lot of the neighborhood streets where there'll be 500 turns, and the propensity to get lost in Atlanta is we're not a city built on a grid. I fear not many folks would make it to the next spot if we didn't get you out of town quickly.
I just want to make sure no one gets freaked out and goes, oh, I can't do it. They're going to ride us through, and it's going to be dangerous. So it's going to be a safe route and all that. And it's going to be very cool. Peachtree Street. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And Adam, this will be awesome because we rode through downtown St. Louis one time, right through the middle of it. So this will be cool. We'll add another riding right down through the middle of downtown of another city. So.
And that was, again, very early in the morning, and there was
no traffic at all.
Yeah, so
yeah, that's the key. We're doing it early in the morning. There's strength in numbers that, with the amount of folks we're going to have on the road. And honestly, I think that's really the best way to get out of town.
So if, I've been with you before, and I know your system, I know your style and your planning. But if I had never been to Bragg before, one of the questions that I would ask you and be like, man, I wish they would have asked this is, can you talk about, and I know it's early, I know we're here we are in January talking about, a June ride, but do you have the sleeping arrangements established? I mean, I know you sell the indoor camping, primitive camping. Are you prepared at this time, or if I'm putting you on the spot, we can move forward. I can cut it out later. But are you prepared to talk about where people might sleep that night before starting?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Oglethorpe, we're gonna have access to dorms there. So if you want to rent a dorm for the night, you can do that. You can do that on our website. Um, we don't have those details quite yet, but they are coming, and we are going to get some dorms if we're staying in a college town like that. There's also indoor camping. So we have indoor camping all along the way. Every location you can do indoor camping. Excuse me, you can do outdoor camping. We have that set up at every location as well. We've got the snooze box, which is sold out for this year, but you can catch it next year. And then also you can do hotels if you'd like. So there's plenty of sleeping options at all these destinations to accommodate pretty much any budget.
Cool. And I know the answer, but another question that I would have is support stops. Are there snacks and food? And the answer is yes. You do very well at that. If no one's ever seen your setup for your rest stops, and you can definitely get lots of items and to get you going. So for sure, you have that. So cool. All right. So we leave a big city. We get to the rural area. And the rural area takes us to Oxford. So, and then Oxford, just doing my own research, looks like we're being home of Oxford College. Supposedly it has Southern charm. Every town looks like I searched it has some Southern charm. Close-knit community. What is it about Oxford?
Yeah, I actually went to school at Oxford. My grandparents lived not far from there and went to school there to start my schooling before I went on to Emory University. And it's just a great campus. They have such a vibe set up. The quad there, where we're going to be staying, is right across from the quad. And, they've got fire pits and lights to hang out under there. So it's going to be a very campus-like visit there. So if you want to relive your college days and hang out in a college town on a college quad, this is your opportunity to do it. They have one of the prettiest quads in the state. And it's just a great facility that we're going to stay at, and also just a great small community to hang out at while we're in Oxford.
So
Cool.
What we're going to have to do for this, if we're going to relive our college days, we need to keep the bourbon packed up and go find us some really cheap beer. I mean, to keep in the whole, we're back in college, find some Natty Light or Keystone or something. So,
well, we can pretend on that part, but the brag bar does not serve.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Beer. So we will serve good quality beer to reminisce on your college days at a higher budget.
So we don't have to go all the way back to the college days. Okay.
If you would like, I can put it in Milwaukee's Best can for you. I mean,
yeah, a little Milwaukee Best and some ramen noodles, and we're reliving college. All right. So Oxford's not a big town. It's only 2,134 people. Interesting things that I found. So it's not a big town, but it actually has the Ornavilla mansion, which is built in 1825 and used in the Civil War as a hospital. That's kind of cool. The other thing I found was the Dukes of Hazzard. In the beginning of like We're the Good Old Boys, and you see the General Lee jumping up, kind of that midair shot. That was actually shot there.
Really?
On Oxford, on the campus of Oxford College. It was.
Wow.
General Lee, famous air scene, shot there.
Yeah, so Oxford is pretty much a suburb of Covington, which is a little bit bigger town, not huge, but bigger town. And that has actually become almost the Hollywood of the South, because, they're filming more and more here in Georgia than they are anywhere else. And so many movies have been shot in Covington because we've got that tax credit here in the state. We're actually going to have a shuttle from Oxford to downtown Covington, and probably have a concert in downtown on the square there. So you'll get to see not only Oxford while you're there on campus, but also Covington, which is another cute, quaint, small town with a beautiful square where just about any movie you can think of has a shot of it in it.
Cool. The only other thing interesting I found out about this town was it is the hometown of Heck Thomas. Isn't that cool, Adam?
Oh man, I remember old Heck.
Yeah.
What the heck are you talking about?
I doubt you remember old Heck, but I like I'm saving it so I don't look bad. No, Heck Thomas was a lawman in the American frontiers back in the old West days. And he was one of the lawmen that helped bring down the Dalton gang.
Oh,
The
okay.
Dalton gang, if you don't remember, tried to pull off two robberies right out here in my territory, Coffeyville, Kansas. And city people found out about it and kind of ruined their robberies, and they didn't make it out of Coffeyville, Kansas. So
Now, you see, Franklin, this is exactly why I ride with him. We will pass something, and he will say, right there, there was, well, if we were in Illinois, the Lincoln Douglas debate, but or something. Every now and then, I just go, I wonder if he's messing with me.
But we're riding, so you can't check it out then. And then by the time we get done riding, you will have forgotten it. So
That's
I'm
right.
safe. I'm safe.
Good enough. Well, thank you for the interesting Oxford information.
So then we're headed to
Social Circle.
Social Circle. So don't take a shortcut, because it's Oxford and Social Circle are not very far apart. So we've kind of extended this route out a little bit to hit a couple other towns, just because it's such a short day. This is going to be our shortest day, just right sub 48 miles, so right at 47 miles. We're going to start out leaving Oxford, have a beautiful rest stop right on the Lake Varner Reservoir, right at a pavilion there overlooking the lake. So that'll be a cool rest stop for sure. And then we're going to keep going head into the city of Monroe. And Monroe is a really cool downtown area, nice strip. They've got a lot of newer, axe throwing and breweries and cool stuff to check out in the downtown area. It's really grown a lot in the recent years. And as folks have left the cities and gone back to the rural areas, it's really one of those cities that's growing and bringing in a lot of people. So we're definitely going to figure out how to route through the city to hopefully have a rest stop at another local brewery there, because it is a short day, and we're kind of encouraging people to stay out and enjoy the route that day. Then from there, we're going to head into horse country. Everyone has a nice, big, beautiful stable out there, so we'll be riding by a bunch of thoroughbreds as we go through Hard Labor Creek State Park. We're going to have a rest stop there, which is, again, overlooking a lake. Beautiful rest stop, beautiful state park. Actually has a very large mountain biking trail. If you bring your soft tail bike and you want to get some laps in, feel free. Then we're going to finish up the day heading into Social Circle.
Now, you said Hard Labor State Park?
Hard Labor State Park.
Did we go through Hard Labor State Park last year during the
Spring
ride? Spring tune-up.
Spring tune-up, that's right. So some of these roads, if you have ridden spring tune-up around the Rutledge, Madison area, are going to look familiar. These are some of the most beautiful roads in the state, and if we're going through there, we're certainly going to pick the most beautiful roads we can ride on. So some of these roads are going to be familiar if you've done those rides, but don't worry, they will not be boring at all.
No, I just thought that sounded very familiar, so I just wanted to clarify that. So,
well, that'll be cool, because on my Strava, I can say, oh, I did it slower or faster, because I know I've been out there, so that'll be cool. So
hoping for some King of the Mountains for you out of this ride.
Oh, KOMs, baby. KOMs. I'm going to get there. My little research of Social Circle says that the city's history is tied to a railroad town, that the railroad played a significant role in the development of Social Circle, southern town. It says it offers various parks and recreational facilities for outdoor activities, including places for picnics, sports, and family gatherings. Throughout the year, Social Circle hosts some community events. Will we be there when there's any other community events? Or
yeah, so last time we were there, 2016, they actually closed off all the downtown area, and we had a block party right downtown off the square. That's what we're shooting for again. It's a great small town. There's a lot of cool restaurants right on the square that you can go to, or rather Main Street. So hopefully we're shutting down the street again, having a big old block party. And the beautiful thing about Social Circle is where we're staying is about 100 yards from downtown. So as soon as you park your bike, you can walk to the downtown area and check out everything Social Circle has to offer.
That's cool.
So, Adam, we are the social event for that day. So,
well, I believe in transparency and being honest, and I use ChatGPT for some of my history because I want to be prepared, because I think Franklin's time is valuable. And I must tell you that ChatGPT said that I could make jokes such as the social event, the social gathering, things I could say about social circle while being social. And I thought ChatGPT has a comic side of it too.
Well, unlike my co-host Adam, I do my own like research, so I don't cheat. But anyway,
I didn't cheat. I went into a tool.
population is like a little under 5 grand. It's about the size of my hometown. Only incorporated in 1904, and really the only thing super historical or interesting I could find about this town is that the Discovery Channel series A Haunting, in season 5, an episode called The Exorcism of Cindy Sawyer, takes place in Social Circle. So check it out.
I should see that before I go, because then I can
should.
see what Social Circle looks like.
It's gonna be hard for me to sleep now there.
So, before we move on, is there anything else about Social Circle that anybody might be curious or interested about? Or
Well, my mom was born there.
Oh.
I don't know if that counts, but
yes, it counts.
She wasn't on the list of notable people. I apologize.
Well, you know, she will be soon. She will be soon.
ChatGPT or Michael GPT did not do the best research, so
Both failed.
Well, that's great. So, and I know that your mother has been very supportive of Bragg and everything that you're doing. So, will we get to see her since it's so close to home?
She rides every route and every ride I put together. So she'll definitely be there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, from a non-Georgia resident, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly. I did it last time. I want to make sure we're going to be then heading into Milledgeville. Did I have that right?
That's Milledgeville. You got it.
Perfect. Milledgeville, and that is your overnight town as well. So
it is. So that'll be day 3. We've got about a 66-mile day, a little less than 3,000 feet of elevation gain. We're actually totally lose about 500 feet that day. So it'll be way more downhill than uphill, which will be great. But we'll head out of Social Circle and we'll hit Rutledge, which we go through on spring tune-up again. That's just a beautiful little town. We're going to see if Molly over at the Caboose wants to get some breakfast fired up for us right in the middle of Rutledge. Then we'll keep going, and we're having to reroute a little bit because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rivian, the electric vehicle automaker, but they are building like a $3 billion plant here in Georgia, and they bought a huge farm right there. So we're gonna have to actually ride around that. So it'll be interesting to see how much progress they've made while we ride around that. Ride through a lot of the same spring tune-up roads to get out to through a wildlife management area, and then we'll hit Eatonton, Georgia. And this is really the portion of the route which kind of follows the Sherman's March to the Sea during the Civil War. So headed from Social Circle to Milledgeville, that's pretty much the route he took with one of his wings. So in Eatonton, we switched up the route a little bit to go past a lot of the old Antebellum homes. I mean, you can see some very old Civil War era homes still standing in great condition there in Eatonton. We'll ride by those and then keep going along bike route 35 that we have here. We'll cross over Lake Sinclair, which is a beautiful lake, have a rest stop overlooking the lake right at the marina. And then we'll stay on bike route 35 for about the last 10 miles into Milledgeville. And Milledgeville is the common theme this year. We're staying in a lot of college towns. And Milledgeville is no different. They've got Georgia College and State University, which we normally stay at, but they had a camp that's booked them out for our week for like 5 years now. So unfortunately, we're not going to stay at the campus, but we'll be just outside of Milledgeville at their Parks and Rec department, which is, you're actually going to camp right on the lake, which will also be very beautiful. And Milledgeville, being a college town, has tons of stuff to do. There's Blackbird Cafe downtown. There's a ton of cool restaurants and bars. You can spend all day walking around downtown Milledgeville. There's the river you can go tubing on. And if you are looking to get some extra miles on the next day, you can ride through Central State Hospital, which was where Georgia had one of the largest
Lunatic
mental
asylum.
institutions. Yeah. So it's kind of eerie riding through there. Most of it is abandoned. They actually had one of the largest cafeterias in the world to serve all the residents there. And I can't remember if it was Reagan or Jimmy Carter when they shut it down. It was a big hit to the local community, but it's pretty cool to ride through there and check out what it used to be and how many residents they used to have.
On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
You know, when you started in talking about Rivian, you've answered a very important question that I had, because when I did spring tune-up, I saw all the signs that said, say no to Rivian plant coming. So I'm assuming the signs did not work and the Rivian plant is coming. So
Yeah, they that was over a lot of people's head. I think the governor worked a direct deal with them. And don't quote me on this. This is all hearsay from the local community, but yeah, the state really wanted them there, and I think a lot of the local people there in the county. Morgan County actually has the largest percentage of agricultural land in the state, which is incredible when you think about some of the South Georgia towns where all they're doing is growing crops. But I think it's the largest percentage of area in Morgan County is used for agricultural and uses. And a lot of people didn't like that they were coming in and clear cutting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres to make this plant. I don't have a dog in that fight. I think there's pros and cons on both sides of that argument. But it's going out there. I drove past it the other day, and sure enough, there's bulldozer on bulldozer on bulldozer moving dirt. So they're making progress.
Well, for the people who wanted it, congratulations, and the people who didn't, I'm sorry. So, obviously we've had the same situation here with different plants and stuff going in. People are concerned about wildlife and things of this nature. So, but as far as the history that I found about Milledgeville, which was extremely interesting, is that it was the capital of Georgia from 1804 to 1868, and that was interesting. And then I don't want to make sure I don't steal Michael's thunder, but it says that it has a notable structure, including the old governor's mansion, which is a National Heritage Landmark, and of course the Central State Hospital that you mentioned.
Consider Michael's thunder stolen.
You think I got it all?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I'm quitting then.
Not going to steal my thunder. No, actually, a couple of things I found interesting is that Oglethorpe University opened its doors here in Milledgeville in 1838. And then during the Civil War, it was forced to close. And then it was rechartered around, 1915, 1912, somewhere in there, rechartered and reopened back in Atlanta. So originally it was here, which I thought was interesting. Population's about 18,000. Another couple of interesting facts for you is Lafayette, the famous Lafayette of the American Revolution, who helped win the war, and later on went on to France to help organize the French Revolution, actually visited this town in 1825. And Sherman marched his troops in 1864 right through Milledgeville, but they pretty much spared the town. So that was kind of nice of them. So, and I wanted to apologize right now to all the folks that this, as we stated in the last episode, this kind of follows the Sherman's march through Georgia, going from Atlanta over to Savannah. And I apologize to the folks of Georgia right now. I actually had a great grandfather who was in the Union Army in the, I believe, the 11th Illinois Cavalry. And he was with Sherman and, was there wreaking havoc. So I'm sorry.
Well, there goes all our listeners. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm, get it out there. I can take responsibility for
nobody's doing the deep dive that much. I mean, no one's knowing that. I'm just kidding. So,
so anyway, and yeah, it was, what's that?
I said there's a couple towns like Madison, Georgia, which is very near to where we have our spring tune-up ride. They always say that, on Sherman's March to the Sea, where they were burning everything, he found Madison's so pretty that he refused to burn the town down, which is why you have so many of those beautiful antebellum homes there. But then I hear that same story at a lot of other towns where they have beautiful antebellum homes too. So I'm not sure how much you really burn down versus how much you let stand. So you might get let off the hook there, Michael.
Well, technically, they were only supposed to be burning, military contraband, that kind of thing. But in a couple of towns, they got a little carried away and maybe lit some things they weren't supposed to. But the only other thing I found interesting is that Oliver Hardy from Laurel and Hardy is from that town.
And I have one which didn't want to say because I was afraid that you had it. But Flannery O'Connor, an acclaimed American author, spent a significant part of her life in Milledgeville, and her former home is now a museum preserving her legacy. So I didn't want to steal your...
She, in fact, wrote many essays. So she was an essayist, I guess, as you would call it.
So that right there is going to make you sign up for Big Brag. I'm going to the museum for Flannery O'Connor.
Boom.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So when we're in Milledgeville, what do you got in line for us? Can you do you have any plans yet? I mean, I'm sure you're working on things. Is anything you can talk about?
So I think, we always like to split it up with the layover, or one day is a little bit more chill to actually give you some rest, and then the next day is a little bit more exciting to kind of pump you up on the town. So I think the night we get there, we can all hang out at the Walter Williams Park, which is, like I said, the rec center right on the lake. Kind of have more of a chill afternoon, kind of get a little bit of rest. And then the next day we've got a 40-mile route, which will be a recovery ride headed around the city. We're going to stop at a few local farms, stop at a little bit of downtown Milledgeville to get you acquainted with some area down there. See some of the Oconee River Greenway that's there. So we're going to check out a lot of cool stuff in and around Milledgeville, try and ride through as much as we can as Central State Hospital. And then we're going to do something downtown in Milledgeville. I know last time we did a sip and stroll there where they had 4 different restaurants and bars where they had live music, and everybody kind of rotated from one to the other. But I think we're going to try and pull up a concert in Milledgeville while we're there. It's just such a great town, and they host a Deep Roots festival every year, which is huge. Like, they have 2 colleges there in Milledgeville, not only Georgia College State University, but also Georgia Military College, which used to be, I think, the old Capitol that they've converted now into the school. So lots of history there, lots of music history as well. So it'd be a cool town to have a concert in before we leave the next day, headed towards Swainsboro. So cool town to check out, and lots of cool places to stay while we're there.
When we leave Milledgeville, we're going to head to Swainsboro. And based upon your video that said 79 miles, one of the cool things that you do is if you're able to pull off a century, you give a bandana away for everyone who completes a century. Is that something you're doing this year?
Absolutely. We do it every year. So if you want to ride 100 miles on our century day, feel free, and you get a bandana that you can sport and be super proud of for completing your century ride. So we used to traditionally do the century ride on the layover day. So you had to choose between not riding or riding 100 miles. And I thought that was unfair for all the people who like to hang out and chill on the layover day. So recently, the past few years, we've started doing the century day on the longest day. So on this day, you'll have to choose between 79 miles to get to Swainsboro. And all you got to do is tack on an extra 21 and you get your century bandana. So are you guys planning on doing the century is the big question.
Yes. I'm committing right now, short of some weird weather.
Do I get a vote in this?
I
mean, you just committed us without even asking.
Dude, you're my best friend. You're coming.
Okay. I'm dragging you there. Yes, we're in then.
I mean, for 21 miles, unless those 21 miles are like the first day of Bragg last year, I'm in. So...
Okay, let's do it. I'm good.
Fair enough. So leaving Milledgeville, we are going to have some pretty good hills getting out of town. So get you nice and warmed up for 100 miles. We go through a little town called Deep Step, which it earns its name of having some pretty deep steps in the road there in terms of cycling. So a lot of up and downs getting out of there. And then we go through a town called Sandersville, which upon touring the town, I learned that they are the kaolin capital of the world. which apparently kaolin is this white clay that goes into everything from baseballs to any kind of like plastic products. You can make just about anything, paper, ceramics, paint out of kaolin, but they have a bunch of kaolin mines there.
Wow.
So while you're in Sandersville, you can check out all the kaolin mines, which will be interesting.
Did he steal your thunder, Michael?
No, that's some thunder I didn't have. That's interesting. Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
I haven't even heard of kaolin until we did a tour of the town a few years back and we were looking at staying there for an overnight town. But apparently, so Sandersville's a pretty big town. We'll ride. They have a really cute downtown. Ride through there, have a rest stop there, and then a couple miles later, have another rest stop in Tinnell, which is a little suburb of Sandersville. Get to hang out there. And all today is, very pretty. We go through a lot of forestry land, which will be nice. Then we end up in Wrightsville, which is a great little town where Herschel Walker was born. So definitely want to drink some of the water there so you can get big and strong for your century. Head out of there, hit your extra 21 miles, and then keep going all the way into Swainsboro.
Hey, Adam, I need a Coke.
Sounds good. We'll be back after a quick break. Well,
all right.
Remember, get that water. I'm going to need that probably that day. So, Swainsboro, I didn't really find out anything except for it was named after Stephen Swain, one of the early settlers in the area.
Yeah, he was actually the state senator, became a state senator.
Okay.
And Stephen Swain is the one that introduced the bill to create the county that it's in. So they named a town after him.
And so he created Emmanuel County. So then they named the town after him.
Well, he was a senator that introduced the bill to create Emmanuel County.
Okay.
He didn't just declare it. And then obviously it went through and it became Emmanuel County. Town was established in 1822. It's got about a population of 7,500. And this I thought was interesting. At one time, they changed the name to Paris, Georgia.
We've been to Paris, Kentucky.
But then 3 years later, they decided that wasn't so great. So they changed it back to Swainsboro.
Even I'm learning stuff on this podcast.
Yeah. But what's interesting is when they changed it back, originally it was spelled Borough, Borough. But when they switched it back after it had been Paris for 3 years, they spelled it Boro. So.
Wow.
Don't know why.
See, ChatGPT's got nothing on you, brother.
Yeah, take that.
Well, next time I'm there, I'll have to get the real reason behind that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Swainsboro is another college town. They've got East Georgia State College, which is a beautiful campus. We'll be staying right there, slap dab in the middle of the campus. We've got our beer tent set up right on the pond there, which is a nice addition. This is what we did last time we were there in campus. It works out really well. Do some music trivia right on the water. Have a beautiful stay right on a nice college campus, and then we'll shuttle folks if you want to downtown Swainsboro. They got a nice square. We always have a concert right off the square in downtown, and they always really roll out the red carpet for us. And they're really good at doing it because they have a pine tree festival. Swainsboro actually Emmanuel County, produces, I think, more pine trees than anyone else in the state in terms of the county. So they have a pine tree festival that's been going on almost 100 years. I think they had their 80-something anniversary this year. And they bring in over 100,000 people for this festival, this pine tree festival every year. So they're used to rolling out the red carpet for big crowds. So they're excited to have Bragg come through again.
So one of the things here, it says that Swainsboro has a charming historic downtown with local shops and local restaurants. Is that what you're talking about? It's right near there? Or?
Yeah. So you probably want to take the shuttle. It's like a couple miles.
Okay.
Take the shuttle into downtown. They've got a nice new steakhouse right off the square. Lots of dessert shops, little coffee shop. So it's a big fountain you can check out. And then they got a big pavilion where we have our big Bragg celebration right off the square. So
cool.
Definitely head into town, get some good food, and check out the concert.
Cool.
Sounds fun.
Okay. So then in each of these college towns, is the dorm availability, if someone is looking for that, are going to offer that?
Yeah, so dorm availability is available at most of the college towns except for Swainsboro. I just found that out about a week ago.
Okay.
Long story short, but they're not going to be available in Swainsboro. But the other colleges, we're going to have dorms up for sale.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we enjoy Swainsboro. We get up and pack up camp, and we're going to head to Statesboro. And how many miles to Statesboro?
So that day's gonna be right about 57 miles, headed into Statesboro. That's gonna be a very rural day. So we're gonna pass through a few less towns that day, but hitting Twin Cities right outside of Swainsboro. Keeping on going through a little town called Portal, which is even smaller than the Twin Cities. Passing by some nice lakes, really rural areas. You got some mix of timberland, you got a lot of crops and a lot of crops and cows out there, which makes for really beautiful rolling farmland that we're going to be riding through. So really, as this route progresses, it's hillier as it starts, not super hilly, but hillier, and it really mellows out closer to the end of the ride. And this is the day where you're really going to start to notice it really mellowing out. So rolling hills into Statesboro, ride through the golf course right before we get into Georgia Southern University, which will be the largest school that we stop at in the city of Statesboro, another college town. Statesboro, outside of Atlanta, and Savannah is probably the biggest stop that we're making in terms of the size of the city. Really cool, vibrant town. Lots of songs written about Statesboro, and Statesboro Blues and Blind Willie wrote songs about Statesboro. You'll get to see the Wooden Nickel, the bar that was famous there, is no longer there, but a lot of cool bars and restaurants in this very historic town where Georgia Southern is. And it's a really cool spot and a really beautiful campus.
Will we be going by the Eagle Creek Brewing Company?
We can put that on the shuttle stop and get you there. How about that?
Okay. I don't know if that's recommended. Is it a good place? It's while doing some research and looking around, it says that it was established in 2013, one of the city's points of pride. That's the only reason I mentioned it.
Yeah, no, like I said, Statesboro is a little bit bigger town, so there's a lot of stuff going on. A few very cool breweries. Nat's Landing is there. They actually, when we leave the next day, they've got a rail trail that's we're going to take getting outside of town. So they're really building up their infrastructure there to attract people from outside of the town. But it's one of those towns that's got a big football team that has a lot of really cool stuff going on. So
cool.
Yeah.
Go Eagles.
Go Eagles.
That's right.
Is that okay?
Yeah, funny enough, my dad went to Georgia Southern for a bit at the beginning of his educational career. So I'm just making connections along all these towns as we go.
I made a joke once that we should just call this Franklin's Memories. That's the ride.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Well, Statesboro is a bigger town, a little over 33,000 people. It was chartered in 1803 and started out as a trading community that was providing all the essentials to cotton plantations. And the Eagles, the Georgia Southern University, started out in 1906 as the First District A&M school. So it did not originally start out as that.
And another cool thing. So you say you got how many people did you say live in Statesboro?
A little over 33,000.
Okay, so we've got 27,000 students that go to school there. So I'm interested to know if that includes students or not. It can't.
I'm guessing it doesn't because this is based on the census. And so typically they wouldn't be taking the census at the college or the university. So I'm guessing. The
fun thing about Statesboro is 27,000 students, 11,000 of them are men, and the other 17,000 are women. So,
I went to college in the wrong place. That's for sure. Wow.
I don't want to tell you this, but that's the stats that he's reading is now. When you went, it was. I'm just kidding. So.
Wow.
I found something interesting about Statesboro.
It's got a song.
It does?
Oh, I thought that's what you were going to tell us.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm reading an annual event. Now, I'm probably going to blow the pronunciation. Franklin's going to help me out here, but the Kiwanis OGC Fair. Is this something that you've heard about? It's a fair and at the Everett Center.
I've not heard of that. They have I know there's the Gullah Geechee people, but they're more toward, I mean, I guess Statesboro is toward the coast, but they're more on the coast.
Okay.
But I've not heard of the Geechee Fair now.
Hey, Michael, I need a coffee.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be there or not. It doesn't say when the date is, but strong sense of community involvement with residents, activity participating in volunteer work.
Don't forget Michael, Southern Charm.
Every town, it says Southern Charm. Everyone.
We got to get you on Chat GPT 4 next go round.
I think so. So.
Well, to let you know, there is a song called Statesboro Blues.
Ba-ba-da-bum-bum.
No, there is. It was Allman Brothers band covered it. It was inspired by the city of Statesboro, Georgia.
Interesting.
There you go. And it used to be a cotton producing until about the 1930s, and then the boll weevils came in, destroyed it. Then they started turning more towards tobacco. Which during the life of the tobacco production, they had over 20 million pounds of tobacco pass through that town.
Wow.
That's a lot of tobacco. And the only other thing I've got that's interesting is Justin Houston is from there. And he was a linebacker with the KC Chiefs. Go Chiefs.
You're not a Chiefs fan. Don't do that.
I did that for my wife. Yeah,
I was going to say, don't do that.
Okay, you called me out. I mean, I can still say go Chiefs.
You live there. You can do that. That gives you the right. And I believe your steering wheel cover does have a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah, that's my wife's too. I mean, she won't let me buy any Denver Bronco stuff. So at least we beat them this year. So I had that to go off of. But
fair enough. So Statesboro, you'll have the Bragg Bar.
Yeah, Bragg. So the cool thing about Statesboro is where we're staying is in the athletic or the recreation center there for the school, which rivals any D1 school's recreation center I've ever seen. They've got a pool right there on the premise, indoor outdoor pool. So if you want to go swimming, right there where we're staying, pitch your tent, head over to the pool. Hop out of the pool. Bragg Bar will be right there within a stone's throw. And then also where we're camping, there's a built-in amphitheater stage. So we're gonna have a big last night blowout concert right there where we're staying. So you won't have to walk far to get back to your tent after everything's over. It'll be all right on site on campus there. So it'll be nice, contained, just for us. And it's going to be a great send-off to head into our last day heading into Savannah.
That sounds exciting. I mean, that'll be great. Well, I don't know. And I guess Statesboro and then next day into Savannah. How many miles from Statesboro to Savannah for the last day?
So the last day is going to be high 60s. Probably going to make a couple tweaks by the end of it. But we'll leave out of Statesboro on the S&S Greenway for the first little bit. So it'll be a cool exit out of town. Then we're going to meander. We're going to follow some of the bike route 35. We're going to follow some of the Athens to Savannah ride. We're going to follow some of our 2016 route, kind of weasel through some small towns. And then getting into Savannah. Savannah's, behind Atlanta is the second biggest city that we're going to be going through, ending in the city. And, last time we were there was an accident. So we were being very diligent, working with police, working with the city, taking as many bike paths and established bike routes as we can. So we've driven it several times. It's such a great route into the city. It's probably the best way, the safest way we can get into Savannah. And Savannah's going to be a great ending point, just because, every time I go to Savannah, I always get blown away by how beautiful it is. They've got more historic squares, I think, than any other city in the United States, just about. They've got historic River Street, which is right on the path. This is cobblestone streets that you can walk along, where there's, very old historic district with, several 100-year-old homes right there on the river, which is very beautiful. And we are going to end right at Dappin Park, which is where the Savannah Bananas play. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that element of baseball, but it's really blowing up right now. And so it'll be cool to end at their stadium right at Dappin Park. And just encourage everybody, if you are, coming in town for this ride, you're not from Georgia or you're from out of town, definitely stay the weekend in Savannah. It's just such a cool city. There's, all these old oak trees that hang over all the streets with the Spanish moss hanging down. It's very romantic. They've got a ton of bike paths to get around the city if you're staying there for the weekend. You could even head out to Tybee Island, which is just down the street, and get right on the beach. And Savannah is just such a cool old historic town with a lot of charm, and it's actually also a bigger city. So there's plenty of stuff to do there while you're there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I've never been to Savannah. Now, Michael, you have, right?
I have, and I noticed you had, I believe it was Tybee Island Lighthouse in your video there, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, so Tybee Island is, probably about a 15-minute drive outside of Savannah. My wife's grandparents actually had a beach house out there, so we used to go out there all the time. It's a really cool place to go visit. It's the closest beach to Savannah. I think Sandra Bullock has a house out there too. So really cool place to go visit. But again, Savannah downtown, they've got Smiley's is probably my favorite dueling piano bar. If you're into staying out late and then singing some karaoke to some pianos, but there's lots of cool places to just walk around and check out. Highly recommend it. Google some images of Savannah and you'll see how beautiful it really is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, this is a major city. We got 147,000 plus population. So you'll definitely find the Starbucks, Adam, because I know that's what you're always looking for. Some interesting facts about this town is this is the oldest city in Georgia. It was established in 1733. And that was founded by General James Oglethorpe, who, if you know anything about him, he was a general who was sent over here by King George to create a settlement, a buffer settlement between basically the Spanish Florida and the French Louisiana. So that's where Oglethorpe and the university and all that, that's where that name comes from. So in 96, the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, they actually did the sailing here in Savannah. Well, not here in Savannah, but in Savannah. In the Wausau Sound. And December 21st, 1864, Union troops marched into Savannah at the end of their march across Georgia. But I will say my ancestor didn't quite make it that far. So.
Okay.
Now I'm interested to know how far he did make it.
He made it about halfway. He had been wounded once in a battle up north in Virginia. And then as he's going across, apparently the Georgia people were a little upset the Union troops were there and started shooting at him, and he got shot in the thigh. And after the second wound, they decided to muster him out. So he only made it about halfway across Georgia. So
now we got all our listeners
grave on the route.
What's that?
Are you going to be able to find his grave on the route?
Actually, he didn't die. They just mustered him out of the military, and he's buried up in Illinois. So they didn't get him completely. So he was able to go back home and live a long, fulfilling life. So,
well, now that you're coming back, you can take his place. We can have another shot, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't do the job the first time. Let's get one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that I saw that Savannah has 22 picturesque squares, each with its green spaces, monuments, and beautiful landscaping. So I'm excited. I've seen all kinds of pictures of Savannah, and that's someplace I haven't been yet. So I'm excited to see that. So
don't forget the Southern charm.
Well, it definitely has Southern charm, cultural diversity. according to this. Now, one of the things is it says it has a culinary scene. Is that true?
Yeah, so lots of really cool restaurants in Savannah. Um, a lot of them you can check out on River Street. They're right there along the street. A lot of them are more deeper into the city. There's also SCAD, which is another big college. I wouldn't call Savannah a college town, but they do have a big school there. And I know there's also some culinary schools in Savannah. So they do have a big culinary scene. It seems to be that like the ghost tours, that's never really been my thing, but the ghost tours and haunted mansions and things. You see a lot of that around Savannah. So if that's your bag of tricks and you want to check out some ghost tours, Savannah is pretty big on that too. But definitely suggest walking around or just riding your bike around there. They have a ton. We're working with Bike Walk Savannah. They just have a ton of bike lanes to get around, bike paths to get around while you're in Savannah to check out a lot of those squares, like you mentioned. They're super beautiful. All the buildings there are just picturesque. You can take a picture just about anywhere and it'll be a postcard. But definitely get down, check out River Street, check out Forsyth Park. I can't tell you how many weddings go on there every weekend. It's super beautiful. Where we're ending, Daffin Park will also be very beautiful. We'll have a great end of the road celebration there. You can get your picture taken to the finish line with the awning and be a proud finisher of the full bike ride across Georgia. And it's going to be a great finish for you to stay over and hang out an extra day in Savannah.
Cool.
And the other thing I found interesting about Savannah is a couple notable people. You should know this one, Adam. Eli Whitney.
He invented the cotton gin.
Thank you. Yes, very good. You get a gold star. Juliet Gordon-Low, which I don't think you'd probably know, who was actually the founder of the Girl Scouts from there.
I did not know that.
James Lord Pierpoint. And you're not going to know who he is either. But I guarantee you've sang his song like probably a million times.
Happy birthday?
No, he's the person who wrote the song Jingle Bells.
Oh, okay.
And ironically enough, he was the uncle of J.P. Morgan. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Now you know. Not that you ever really wanted to, but now you know.
I did see a funny thing on Facebook. It had a picture of Batman, and it says, "I do not smell." Well, I appreciate that. No, I did not know those last two. Being a Boy Scout, I knew I can tell you some Boy Scout history, but not Girl Scout history. So
Baden Powell is not from Savannah, so.
Okay, so then after you have the celebration, then of course those who want to get back to the airport, you'll have a shuttle that night that they can pay for, and we'll leave after that or that afternoon or however that's going to work.
So if you got to hightail it out of town, you can either do the shuttle at the beginning of the ride, so your car is there in Savannah and you can just head wherever you need to head, or if you want to take the shuttle at the end of the ride all the way back to Atlanta, we'll have a shuttle for you. Or if you want to hang out in Savannah, they have actually, Groom has daily shuttles from Savannah back to Atlanta, or they've got a regional airport if you're jetting off somewhere. Or, if you're nice enough, you can get your wife to come down and bring the kids and spend the weekend with you before you got to head back home. So that's what I'm gonna try and do for sure.
Sweet. Yeah. No, we chose for the land in Savannah. See Savannah a little bit before the ride, take the shuttle up to Atlanta, ride back to Savannah, and then the next day fly out. So we're pretty excited. I'm hoping that you don't mind if I talk about a few price points. So if anyone's interested in doing the ride, we're now at the full week price of $475, and according to your website, that goes till $331. Now, does it go, if they don't sign up before March 34th, does it increase again?
It does.
Okay.
So it's, it's easier for us to plan ahead for sure. The sooner we know you're coming, the more we can plan. So it definitely ratchets up to try and incentivize people to register early.
And if this has been shared by somebody that says, hey, check out this route, $475 gets you the primitive camping if they don't choose to do indoor camping, but they do get the support of the full brake stops and things of that nature.
You get all the peanut butter and pickle sandwiches you want out at the rest stops.
Nice.
Powerade.
Nice.
You got chips, cookies, bananas, fruit, granola bars, all kinds of stuff. Also, surprises from here and there. Out at all the rest stops, we got the best SAG crew in the business that you picked up. If you ever have any mechanical or medical issue that's non-emergency. And have you guys ever been picked up by SAG on Bragg or no?
No.
We have never been picked up by SAG on any ride, and I'm knocking on wood right now. So,
Yeah.
Fortunately not. All right. Well, it's good to know it's there if you need it, but like you said, knock on wood. Hopefully you don't need it. And then like you said, access to all the areas, all the concerts we have, all the shuttles to get you back and forth from downtown restaurants to where we're having our overnight venues. So it includes showers, includes a lot of different stuff you can check out, and all that's on the website if you want to check it out.
So if earlier I mentioned the Bragg Light option, that is currently at the price point of $225. So the $225 would get you either the first 3 days or the second or the last 3 days or the second set of 3 days. So either on the front end or the back end. So
you can do that with a shuttle too. So if you want to do the first 3 days and you don't know how you're going to get your car back, we've got Bragg Light shuttles too that will shuttle you from Milledgeville back to Atlanta or from Savannah to Milledgeville. So all an option there.
Cool. I just wanted to give the price point. I mean, really, if you're looking for the information, one of the nice things about your website is it's full of wonderful information and it's clean and concise. There's a ride that we don't talk about that we were on once. The website was just, I don't know. I think I needed a degree just to read the website. It was amazing how atrocious it was. But yours is crystal clear, concise. If someone wants to know anything and everything, I can't imagine. I mean, it might be there. I doubt it, but I couldn't imagine that wouldn't be on your site. You've got everything listed there. When you go to bragg.org, there's multiple rides. Franklin has multiple rides. We're obviously talking about Big Bragg 2024, June 1st through the 7th. But check out his other rides as well. He's got all kinds of options and international and going big time, big baller over there. So. I'm excited.
In a couple weeks here, we're headed to Mexico for that trip, and then doing our Amsterdam boat trip in August, and then next year we've got trips to France and Italy. We're adding on, so
wow,
definitely growing the international portion for sure.
Well, Adam, I just have really one question. That after you've heard about the route, why would you not just immediately right now go to the website and register?
Because I already registered.
Why would someone else not just do that then?
Well, they should. I mean, the people, ask Michael and I all the time, like, hey, we've never done this. We're, a little anxious about signing up. This to me, not because we consider Franklin a friend, and I would say this anywhere, any day, anytime that I am, if anyone asks me, this is the perfect state-long ride to sign up for. It is so well supported. You make life easy. You make it multiple options. So if someone's a hotel person and they want to do hotels, you offer an option where they can purchase for a small fee where the baggage can be transported from their hotel and to the next place and to the next place. You offer indoor camping. So if you have a person who wants an aero bed and I mean, I've seen it all now. You want to bring the aero bed, you want to bring a mattress. If you want to bring that and you want to make sure you're with an air conditioning, you have that. You offer primitive camping. You offer the team atmosphere. I don't know how well to say that if you're looking to jump into something like this, if you've never done it before, or if you've done others and you're concerned that, what is it going to be like? One of the questions that we get a lot is, how does it compare to RAGBRAI? How does it compare to RAGBRAI? And my answer to that is always, think of it as a more intimate RAGBRAI. People that you get to see at the same break stops, people you get to see every night, hang around in town. Literally, like I remember Brazelton, and you could just walk around and see the same people, through the week and meet people and say, it's great to meet you, great to talk to you. I highly recommend, if you haven't signed up, especially before the March 31st price point,
absolutely,
go jump on and take advantage of that. So.
I totally agree. I've ridden, I think, across 7 states now. multiple times on most of them. And I would say that this and probably one or two other ones of those 7 have a lot of the same feel, very, intimate type feel and that type of thing. I'm not going to discuss those now, but maybe in future ones. But yeah, it's definitely a good ride for somebody who may have just got into cycling, someone who's a little unsure, never done a big long ride before, or just the avid cyclist that just wants to go out and have a truly good time meeting new people and experiencing really a lot of, this is, you get to see a total cross section of Georgia. So it should be great. I encourage everyone to go out and sign up.
Absolutely. So,
Franklin, we asked you guys what brought you back year after year, but I guess you guys answered my question.
Yeah, I mean, we've built some wonderful friends. This year, we've had to change up a few things of what we're going to do, but this was really passionate for us to come back. At least this year. Who knows what next year will bring? But this year was definitely. He and I talked about it, and we are not going back to Iowa, but we've made many friends. What we always say in the beginning of the show is the experience and the people you meet along the way. The people that we've met from Georgia have just been just amazing, awesome, fantastic people. I mean, and these people we keep running into other states, Iowa, Kentucky, Florida. These are people that we all met on Bragg that we've now connected with. And there's just I think that's what my answer to you is what made us come back was knowing that A, you put on a good ride, and B, that we enjoy the people that we know we're going to see there. So.
It's awesome. I appreciate that.
Well, I know that your time is valuable. You are a family man, and I just wanted to thank you again for coming on. Last year you had said to us, "Hey, how come you didn't invite me on to talk about the route? I could help." And I'm like, "Well, this year I'm inviting you." So not only did you accept the invite, you're here, and Michael and I are very thankful that you're willing to come back on with us and talk about it. So. Just to be clear, Atlanta to Savannah, June 1st to the 7th. Mark your calendars. Go sign up. It's simple to sign up. There's options galore of how you want to make your ride your ride. That's the greatest part about your ride to me. You can do it however you want to do it. So, well, cool. The only thing I'll say is, as we always do,
it's a great day for a bike ride.
All right.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Franklin. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.